Jehan Perera is the Executive Director of the National Peace Council of Sri Lanka and joins us now from Colombo. Jehan, thank you so much indeed for joining us. In terms of the candidates we know who would like to stand as Gotabaya Rajapaksa's successor, are any of them anything new? Are they all part of the old establishment?
Well, they're all well-known politicians, well-known leaders, but several of them come from the opposition, and they have not been wielding governmental power. So they would be seen as more legitimate in terms of the protest movement than those who come from the government side.
And have any of them actually come up with some sort of plan that looks convincing enough to get Sri Lanka out of its economic collapse?
Unfortunately, that's not been the focus at this time. We have the present government, the acting president. He has been very good at telling what the problem is and what, in a way, needs to be done, but in general terms, but there is no concrete plan. And the opposition also has not come up with a plan, because essentially a plan would mean very costly cutbacks in governments, in the size of government, in the defense budget, in subsidies to loss-making government entities such as the national airline. And it would mean unemployment, people losing their jobs. So no one wants to really put it out at this time. As a result, we are drifting. And as you said in your introduction, I mean, the fact that we are not going to have petrol, that only 2 shipments are now anticipated, and that might be the end. I mean, it's so hard as it is. If you go to a supermarket, for instance, there are no vegetables, no fruits. Now that's for urban consumers. But what does it mean for the producers? That means they couldn't sell it. And that means that they are not having an income. We are spiraling downward. It's a dreadful situation. We have to come out of it fast. And this, we are concerned that the presidential contest will not bring forward a president who is accepted by the people who overthrew the government. We have actually, in a way, our parliament no longer represents the people. It is a legal parliament, but it is not a legitimate parliament, because due to the protest movement, our president, our prime minister, and our cabinet of ministers, all of them stepped down. So what the people want is something different. They don't want this government, they want something else. And the best compromise that we have, that civil society and religious clergy have been able to come up with, is say it should be an all-party government, small all-party government for a temporary period.
Jehan, that was exactly the next point I wanted to make to you, and you've addressed it already. Because of what's led to the moment that we're at right now, whatever happens in Parliament and whoever is selected as president would then theoretically complete the term that Gotabaya Rajapaksa was supposed to serve. But how can that leadership, how can that composition of President, Prime Minister, Parliament provide political instability when it's come from the situation that has produced it?
Yes, so that's why we say that it should be an all-party government, not the ruling party. And that's why, if the ruling party uses its majority in parliament to select its own person to be president, it is very unlikely to be accepted by those who protested and who overthrew the government, the president, the prime minister, and cabinet, and forced them all to resign. It will be a repeat, it will be a deadlock. That's why we are hoping that there should be a consensus candidate, someone who's elected or selected to that position by the consensus of all our political parties. It's going to be a difficult process, but they must make a good faith attempt to find a consensus president who is acceptable not only to all the political parties, but also to those who struggled, to the people who have been struggling for so long.
Jehan, thanks so much indeed for that analysis. Really appreciate it. Jehan Perera in Colombo.